Hobo Chili Recipe says, watch Mexico stuff. We got all the Mexico. We're going to get into Tucker and Huckabee because I think there's some really great clips. I mean, if we lived in a perfect world, in my mind, Mike Huckabee would be tried for treason. I mean, this guy, the shit that he says, the shit that he believes. I mean, this guy is not like the ambassador of the United States or the ambassador of the United States to Israel or to any country for that matter is there to press the interests of the United States upon that country. Mm-hmm. You know, they're supposed to be operating out of the embassy. And when they talk to those foreign governments, they're supposed to be saying, hey, here's what we want. Here's what our country needs. Mike Huckabee is 100% on Israel's side. Like he is putting the interests of Israel over the interests of the United States of America. Now, I'm not saying that to say that I'm surprised or that I'm shocked. I'm saying that to all of you so that you understand how messed up that is of a concept. Mike Huckabee is actively, while in a position to push for the interests of the United States, actively pressing the
interests of that country,
the interests of Israel. So I want to point something out that a lot of people may not know, even if they're Christian. You might say, why does a devout Baptist minister like Mike Huckabee root so hard for a Jewish state and all this? Mike Huckabee believes in a form of Christianity called dispensationalism. Now, I don't believe in this because I don't believe that's what the scriptures are saying. And I've listened to Christians who know better, who are scholars on this, who have convinced me of this argument. So like anything else that's a heady topic, I just repeat the shit from the smart people that said some shit. Mm-hmm. But dispensationalism believes that in 1948, when Israel was created, the government, the state of Israel, that was a sign of Jesus's return, and the state of Israel has to be in place for Christ to come back to. Now, I don't believe that. I believe that the biblical land of Israel, the land from the Nile River to the Euphrates River, I believe that is a geographical location and that it will always exist. It always has existed. And that what the realms of men call that land doesn't matter. When we're talking about God coming back to earth, he's not going to care what nation states are called.
Yeah.
He's not going to care what governments we have. There was no United States of America in the Bible. So the idea that a nation state existing is going to somehow influence when Jesus comes back is horseshit.
Guys, we have to call off the apocalypse. The landing strip doesn't have the right name yet.
Right. There's not a proper flag flying above it. So dispensationalists believe that, and Mike Huckabee is one, they believe that Israel, this political country, this ethno-state, has to exist or Jesus can't come back. Now, we could sit here and poke holes in that all day, but I think, number one, that state of Israel does not have anywhere near the same borders that King David's kingdom of Israel had in the Bible. So
give it time.
Well, that's a good point, too. It's probably why people like Huckabee are cheerleading the Iran war so much. But I don't think that's needed for Christ to come back. If anything, I would say that Israel, Netanyahu, if you want to give them a role in the apocalypse, I would say that they're the Antichrist that Jesus has to return to defeat. I mean, I think he would belong to what Jesus called the synagogue of Satan when he was referring to particular Jews in the Bible, the synagogue of Satan. I think he belongs to that, and I think he would be the one who needs to be cast into the lake of fire. But again, I'm not a theologist.
Well, thank God the state of Israel isn't led by people who are constantly trying to co-opt the largely Christian movement by linking it together with theirs automatically and calling some weird name like Judeo-Christian.
Right. I believe the covenant promised to the Jewish people was done away with the new covenant brought in by Jesus Christ. But silly me, I'm a Christian.
Right.
I believe
what
that.
Are you thinking?
Yeah, I apologize. King Kong Dong with $1 says, Johnny, how did you enjoy that performance from Halbuck? Did you watch? You're a hockey guy. Did you watch the gold medal game?
I'll be honest, I didn't watch the game. I've kind of got a family thing going on this week.
Yeah, you were a little busy.
Yeah. I caught the highlights and I was super, super cool. Like, hey, America won.
Yeah, and I don't like hockey, and I don't like to shit on people who do enjoy it, so I just kind of silently let everybody enjoy their gold medal win, because that's what I would want. If they don't like the Super Bowl and the Vikings won one, I'd want to shoot people who didn't care, or who not didn't care, but like were shitting on it.
Shit on it?
Yeah. So
piss off.
Enjoy your hockey.
I was very happy. Yay, America! We did great in men and women's hockey, and I just I've had some stuff going on. So it's been.
How is all of that stuff going?
It'll be mostly wrapped up this week. There's a lot of family members in town, and I'm preparing to do the one performance I never wanted to. So
are you a little overstimulated with all the family people in town and
touch? It's just a lot of people coming to me, talking to me about different stuff. Like, ooh, mention this, remember that. So it's just, it's like every time I'm taking a moment to feel better, and then I talk to other people make me feel worse. So it's like, ooh, fun.
See, like when it's big crowds like that, like I enjoy that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just like, all right, this is too much. I don't want to be a dick, but like I
need some space.
I gotta be away.
The weird part is for me, like I used to have very little problem with that, but as my my mobility's gotten worse, it's made me more uncomfortable in large crowds just because I can't move.
I get it. You don't have to tell me twice. So we got the Tucker Carlson, Mike Huckabee clips here. There's a lot of them. I think there's one I want to add. And we've talked about this before. When Mike Huckabee met with that traitor, I think it's John Pollard. There was a Jewish guy who worked for American intelligence, and he sold our battle plans against the Soviet Union. This was back during the Cold War. He sold our battle plans to Israel, who then sold them to the Soviet Union. You know, our allies.
Our buddies, the
Israelis, bought the Department of Defense's battle plans against the Soviet Union. This guy sold them to Israel, which is amazing because this guy's loyal to Israel as a Jewish guy, and we'll go over what Jonathan Pollard has said since then. But like, how Jewish that he has our secrets. He believes that Israel is his true home, but yet he still sells the plans to them.
Well, why leave the money on the table? I did the effort. I should be properly compensated.
I believe that you should be thrown in jail if you try to stop people from making a joke or pointing that out. Because it's just too perfect. I mean, the guy's like, I love Israel. All Jews should have dual loyalty if they live in America. But let's discuss that price for these secrets. And then Israel turns around and sells them right to the Soviet Union just for money. Just for money. That's it.
Well, we've got to make back on our investment. Otherwise, it's a net loss.
That's right. They treated our state military secrets like they were a house being flipped.
Oh, fart nigger.
Yeah, indeed. So Tucker Carlson interviewed Mike Huckabee, and I watched this throughout the day Friday. I watched a lot of it before I picked up the kids from school, and then throughout Friday when I had a few minutes, like when I was making dinner, I popped a headphone in. I listened to the rest of it. God damn, it was good, man. Tucker stepped on his balls one time. He said that the current president, not Netanyahu, the president, not the prime minister, of Israel was at Epstein Island. He never was. So Tucker did have to do a little sorry about that so that he didn't get sued. But otherwise, this was just a brilliant performance by Tucker. And the reason it was so brilliant is because he didn't need to argue with Huckabee that much. He just needed to ask Huckabee questions, and Huckabee's own biases showed themselves.
I haven't seen any clips where Huckabee looks decent. Did he ever really perform well during this, or was it kind of a self-own?
I'm the wrong guy to ask because
you have a Huckabee bias?
I don't agree with Mike Huckabee on any of this shit. The one thing I'll say, you know that Alexandrovich, the pedo who tried to meet a child for sex in Nevada last year, the Israeli cyber minister guy?
Mm-hmm. The guy that fled, yeah.
Yeah, and we let him just go. It's worse than that. Like, he didn't even flee. We just went, yeah, you can go back to Israel. And he did Zoom court for all his hearings, and they're going to allow him to do Zoom court for everything else. While Tucker was saying this is corruption, why don't you talk to the Israeli government about this? Huckabee did stand his ground and was like, he was technically right. He's like, well, if the courts decided that and it's allowed by the courts, then why wouldn't he do that? And blah, blah, blah. He's technically right. But it's also like, come on, man, can't you at least admit that that's kind of fucked up and they wouldn't let a guy from Brazil do that? That's all. That's all we're pointing out. So this is clip one. These are in no particular order. These were just 3 or 4 of my favorite clips from the Huckabee Tucker interview. Here we go.
Entirety of the world, there are about 16 million Jews total. And 8 million of them live here. The rest live mostly in New York or South Florida.
Kind of a funny joke there. I got to admit, Huckabee with a funny little, unless that's true.
And a few other places.
Okay.
So this is a small population of people. They have connection to this land.
Okay. Everybody who's ever lived there has connection to that land. That's a shit argument. Because that argument falls apart the minute you go, yeah, so do the Arabs that lived there for thousands of years while the Jews weren't there.
A lot of people in Gaza had connection to that land up until the point that they were starved to death and or shot on it.
Right. People in the West Bank, people who were thrown out by the Zionists, the Nakba, all those people who were moved out who were displaced during the Nakba. All those people had ancestral history in that land going back hundreds, if not thousands of years. But what? They aren't bankers and they aren't in Hollywood and they aren't Rothschilds, so they don't count?
Exactly.
Oh, sorry. I was being sarcastic.
You figured it out. Congratulations.
I'm sorry. I was being sarcastic to try to bring shame to people. I didn't realize that I was just nailing it right on the head. By the way, now in my algorithm is popping up like Titanic conspiracies and World War I shit and the Napoleonic War and like the Rothschilds being at the center of all that and like how J.P. Morgan organized the sinking of the Titanic so that they could get a Federal Reserve Bank.
Oh, really? I didn't know it went that deep. I thought it went the old like investments aren't quite panning out and we could use the insurance payoff.
No, I didn't know J.P. Morgan owned the White Star Line. I did not know that. But John Pierpont Morgan was booked to be on the Titanic. And a few days before said, I can't go. I'm sick. Meanwhile, he was on vacation with his mistress. So a bunch of old money guys that were against the Federal, because Morgan and the Rothschilds and a bunch of others wanted the Federal Reserve Bank so that they could just print money. So it didn't have to be backed by gold so they could control the currency. That was the new game. All these old money guys in old Europe, they didn't want the Federal Reserve. They liked it being backed by gold. They were happy with the system that we had. So Morgan has this big ass ship and all these guys are getting on it because it's the luxury cruise liner of its day. You have to be on its maiden voyage. None of the new money guys were on it. All of the old money guys were on it. The boat sinks. It's supposed to be unsinkable. It decides to play slalom with icebergs in the North Atlantic. All the old money people die. All the new money people are alive. And within a year, the Federal Reserve Bank is passed.
Well, I'm going to say that's a very interesting conspiracy. It seems to line up so well.
Oh, and also J.P. Morgan got a full insurance payout on the Titanic. So
not surprising.
Anyway, back to Mike Huckabee cucking for Jews.
Historically, biblically,
do they?
Yes, they do.
If Bibi's family, we know they lived in Eastern Europe. There's no evidence they ever lived here. He's not religious.
But
in what sense?
How do we know that?
Do you have his family tree? No, we don't.
Do you?
He doesn't. So no one does. That's the point. So how do we know that he has any connection to this land at all?
And if there has been a practice of Judaism and a connection to the language, the Bible, the land.
His ancestors didn't. He doesn't practice Judaism in any rigorous way. His ancestors didn't live here. They didn't speak the language, and there's no evidence they ever lived here. So on what basis does he have a right to be here?
Very much speaks the language. Well, he has fought for the land. His family has fought for the land.
You're dodging a very obvious question, which is, where does this right come from? And the reason it's meaningful is because there are a lot of people in the territory that Israel controls today, particularly in the West Bank, who...
And here's another, and I'm going to say this many times during this segment, but here's another F Mike Huckabee thing. You don't hear him fight this hard for Native Americans.
Nope.
You don't hear him fight this hard for Africans, for blacks in America. Like, you don't see this guy fight for Latinos who, had basically everything from Oklahoma out to California. You don't see him fight for... Now, I think he would be wrong to do that because I think blood right to land is garbage. I think it's nonsense because everybody came from somewhere. We're all human beings. Conquest happens. Change of ownership happens. Empires happen. It's part of the flaw that makes us us. We break a lot of rules and we kill people and we take things. But if you're going to go blood rights to land... To me, that's a consistent thing. That's like a universal concept. That's not just special to one part of the world. So either you believe in blood rights to land or you don't.
Right.
And I got bad news for you. If you believe in blood rights to land, all of us got to go the hell back to Europe.
I ain't never been there before.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the other thing with this too. Like, if you believe in blood rights to land, you even just staying in that sphere. So those people in that country have blood rights to land, but the people they have been systematically destroying for the last couple years, those people don't have any rights to the land they live on. They've been there just as long, if not longer. Their ancestry goes back before you guys set up your little state, and they've been there this whole time. So why is it their rights to land don't seem to matter?
Well, I mean, one of the arguments is that the original Semites are dark-skinned, that they're black and Arab, and that they're not the Ashkenazi Jews that you see, or they some of them might be Sephardic Jews, but none of the white Jews that you see running around have any claim to that land. The original Semites are black and brown people. Now, if you say that and say you're Kyrie Irving and the commissioner of the National Basketball Association that you play for, his name is Adam Silver, they might suspend you and chastise you and ban you from things for saying that. They don't like it when black people, liberals, especially liberal Jews, are very funny about this. They want to empower black people to a point. But when black people start researching and thinking for themselves, all of a sudden, that's not okay.
Like the same way CIA handles drug leading country, or you're allowed to run this country and say I am the commandant and it's all mine.
Yeah.
But the minute you start telling us how to do business, we got to talk.
That was Manuel Noriega.
Yeah.
Manuel Noriega, as long as he kept the drugs trafficking through Panama, everything was fine. And then the minute he went, hey, CIA, I'm actually in charge of this country. I'm going to make some rules. They went, yeah, the fuck you are. And they went and took care of him. And then we wonder why countries like Iran want nukes.
Through genetic testing, we can know their families have been here for thousands of years. We don't know whether they practiced Judaism, whether they were Samaritans, pre-Islam. We don't know that. A lot of them we know have been Christians for 2,000 years. They have less of a right to the land than someone whose ancestors, the only thing we know about them is they lived in Latvia or Poland. They're Eastern European. How does that work?
They're Jewish.
Again, it's the fact that he doesn't even realize he said it or how it sounds.
No.
Oh, well, because they're Jewish, all the rules go out the window. We do whatever we want for them. Screw the people who have their ancestry there. These guys are Jewish.
You would be completely forgiven for thinking that this guy has absolutely no allegiance or ties to the United States of America.
Oh, he doesn't.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, that's why you'd be forgiven. But just listening to him, if I didn't tell you who that guy was, and Tucker just had a guy named Mike on his show, and you watched him, I don't think your first instinct would be, oh, this guy's an American patriot. In fact, in some cases, you would say, I think this guy hates America. Because multiple times in this interview, Mike Huckabee would say, well, in this war with Gaza, Israel did a lot better job with civilians than we did in Iraq. And it's like, first of all, if that was true, which it's not, let's set that aside. Fuck you. You're an American, bitch. You don't sit on a foreign soil and suck their dick and trash the shit out of our troops and say that our troops are more murderous than the IDF. You don't do that. Imagine if Barack Obama did that while he was in Saudi Arabia or Egypt, What would a Mike Huckabee say about Barack Obama if he went, well, you know, these Muslims. In fact, they did this to Barack Obama when he would say things like, well, the Crusades were bad and look what we did to Muslims then. And they're, oh, look at him apologizing for Christianity and all this. Meanwhile, Mike Huckabee goes, oh, America's way more evil and murderous than Israel is. And it's like,
the funny part is that the military, who do you think trained him? Lately, it keeps seeming like the IDF.
Not only that, but also, who were we fighting those wars for? And there's a clip of that coming up a little bit later here.
By what definition?
They're Jewish by their
But how do we know they have any
ethnicity.
connection
They're
to
Jewish
the
by
Jews
their
of the,
faith. They're
of the
Jewish
Bible?
by the connection to the language. Jewish by the connection to the Torah.
But how do we know that Bibi, specifically Bibi's ancestors, ever lived here? How do we know that?
I'm not sure if I understand your question.
Well, I understand. Johnny, do you understand his question?
Yeah, he's asking you this whole connection to the land thing you've been pushing. How do you know BB has a connection to the land? This is worse than the South Park sketch with the underpants gnomes where they go, oh, phase 2 is phase 3 profit. It's like, yeah, but what's phase 2, asshole? It's looking you in the face. You just said their connection to the land. What's his?
And this is where Tucker's better than all of us, and this is why he's so good at this. He doesn't lose his cool and like chimp out at the guy, whereas like he would go, I'm not sure I'd understand the question. And the interview would be over because I go, what am I speaking fucking Hebrew, you retard? And then they'd be like, all right, interview's done. I'd be like, oh, yep, I fucked that up. Yep, that's on me. I definitely lost my access on that deal. Shit.
How do we know if the Prime Minister of Israel's ancestors ever lived?
Maybe I could ask you, how do we know they didn't?
Well, now, isn't this a great argument against blood right to land?
Kind of.
This is a wonderful argument against you have blood right to a certain land. Hey, I can't prove you did. Hey, you can't prove you didn't. All right, cool. Then let's call the whole thing off. Nobody has a right to this land through blood. You fight for it. You create borders. You enforce it. Or,
well, I should say, we have to change the blood right. It has to be current blood in terms of you recently spilled it and or had it spilled.
Yes, exactly.
I mean,
Well, it's on the basis of the claim that they did that all kinds of things happen. People are displaced. There's a money flow. I mean, it's a big question. A lot hangs on this. It's not some theoretical thing like, oh, you know, did my grandparents do this or do that? It's like, no, we have a right to be here because my ancestors were here. Okay, how do we know they were here?
I'm totally unable to process what you're trying to get at.
He did great. Huckabee did great. By the way, you cannot separate this guy from Donald Trump. And this is where Donald Trump has completely killed his entire presidency. He's surrounded by these people. Did you see what Howard Lutnick did? We're going to get to this later today, but did you see what Howard Lutnick did with the tariffs?
He's not enforcing them and letting them slide, right?
So the Supreme Court struck them down on Friday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And Howard Lutnick, our Commerce Secretary, who's confirmed to have been to Pedo Island, and Trump won't cut him loose. Howard Lutnick made investment bets against tariffs. So Trump put all these tariffs in. Howard Lutnick made tariff refund bets where, and we'll have this whole story later, so we won't go too deep into it right now. But Howard Lutnick bet against the tariffs, and he's going to make potentially tens of millions of dollars off that trade.
That seems like an insider trading kind of deal sort of thing. I feel like when you're the Commerce Secretary, you shouldn't be able to like trade and make bets on things that will be affected by your government's policy decisions.
Well, you clearly hate Jews. That's all I can say.
Not all of them.
You know what? You're right. I apologize. I was way out of line. Way out of line. All right, let's get to some of these, and we'll get to our next clip from the Tucker and Huckabee thing. $1 from King Kong Dong says, Jews run the Federal Reserve, and New York is ran by Muslims. We're all fucked. That should be a fun next 4 years at least, right? $1 from King Kong Dong. I hate that Rumble does that.
Oh, double shared?
The repeater, yeah. Rumble's doing the repeater this morning. Approachable with $1 says, I now understand your swinger days better. If this type of shit you waste your Friday listening to, I could see where you need a bang fest to release some dopamine. Dude, I was so excited when Tucker did this interview. Are you kidding? It's like made my weekend. Crone becoming a member for 45 months. Thank you very much. He says Rothschild, Hebrew translation, Shield of Edom, the Edomites. Ashkenazis are Canaanites. Damn, thank you for the theology lesson. I need it, Lord knows. Balls Deep becoming a member for 37 months. Thank you to everybody who contributes to this listener-supported show. I appreciate it so much. He said, becoming a member for 37 months says, good to see you, Johnny.
Good to see you, too, and thank you for being a member for 37 months. I really appreciate it.
Veldrain with $1. Thank you, Veldrain. He says, next, Tucker asked him to define the word free. Same response. We got a few more clips here. This one was bad. I was coming. I know where I was when I heard this. I cut myself off at coming. I was on my way back from the grocery store when this part of the interview played in the car. I was laughing my ass off, but like laughing my ass off in a way that was like, we're done. Like this Trump's surrounded by these people. To point that, I cut myself off with the Lutnick thing. Trump's surrounded by these guys, and it's amazing because I feel bad for Trump supporters in a way, which I really don't count myself amongst anymore because then I'd have to be with this guy and with Lutnick and all these other Nudnicks and Kushner and all. I can't do it. But Trump really is, and some people, anti-Trump people, might get mad at me for this. Trump really isn't innocent in that he's not guilty of any of this stuff, but all of the people he surrounds himself are. And he's now handcuffed in that he really is Nixon. Nixon was surrounded by really bad people. And Nixon was loyal to a fault. The Butcher line that we always quote. Nixon wouldn't sell his guys down the river, even though those guys meant him nothing but harm. Haldeman, Ehrlichman, Dean, all of those guys felt they all wished him ill. And he wouldn't sacrifice him to save his ass. Because remember, Nixon did nothing wrong. Nixon didn't spy on the Watergate Hotel. He didn't order it. He didn't know about it. But he covered for the people who were covering for the burglars, not knowing that they were all CIA operatives and they were working against him. And it was an entrapment scheme. Haldeman, Ehrlichman were protecting the burglars. They went to Nixon to get protection from him so they could protect the burglars. And Nixon knew Haldeman and Ehrlichman their whole lives, knew their families. And they used Nixon's own decency against him. And they're kind of doing that with Trump, although I don't think Trump's as decent a person as Nixon was. Nixon had
he's been owned, is the way I look at it.
Well, we were talking about that the spy that Huckabee met with. Now his name escapes me again. John, whatever. Pollard, Jonathan Pollard. Do you know who picked him up from prison and brought him back to Israel and like rehabbed him and helped him out? Miriam and Sheldon Adelson.
Oh, great. Only the largest contributors to the Trump campaign.
And the IDF, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Hooray.
It's fun. Like and subscribe.
How many boots on the ground has the U.S. placed on behalf of Israel?
Go ahead. Johnny, would you like to?
How many boots has the ground?
There's no wrong answer. You're allowed your own theories.
I'd say
because Huckabee's asking this question like it's an own. He's like, Tucker, we don't live for Israel. We're not Israel's hitmen.
I'd say most of the boots, any of the boots we placed on the ground in Afghanistan and most of the Middle East stuff we've done, I'd say was technically on behalf of support of Israel.
I would, and I would agree with you. And I would agree that what we did in Libya, we did for Israel. While I don't think we had boots on the ground in that one, we launched airstrikes. Same with Syria. I'm pretty sure what we did in Syria, we did for Israel. Yemen with the Houthis, I believe we're doing that for Israel. But here we go. So Mike Huckabee, and by the way, this is what happens when you live in a bubble and you don't listen to people who disagree with you. Mike Huckabee thinks this is an own because he hasn't read or researched anything that his opposition has.
As the ambassador,
U.S. placed on behalf of Israel.
However many went to Iraq. We did that for Israel.
No, I don't think we did.
He doesn't think we did.
I don't think we did. Oh, you mean You mean when we went into Iraq and took it down with the second Bush administration after one of the greatest terrorist attacks on our nation in recent history that was allowed to be perpetuated by a government that knew about it ahead of time, sent 5 guys to watch it happen, and celebrated with a dance on a highway?
5 dancing Israelis.
But you said we did it because of 9/11?
That was the U.S. justification for it.
But it wasn't for
the-
9/11. So what was the actual reason?
Well, that's the U.S. government told us it was for 9/11. They told us that they were part of it, that they had weapons of mass
But
destruction.
they knew they had
Remember all
nothing to do
that?
with 9/11, obviously.
Maybe
There's no
not.
evidence.
But I'm
So
telling
what
you
was the
that
actual
Israel was
reason?
not in that component. But
Israel had no influence on our decision to invade Iraq. That's not what the people who made the decision say. They say Israel
Well, let me get back to the point.
gave us that information about the fake weapons of mass destruction. Where do you think that came
question
from?
was,
It came from Bibi.
How many Americans put their boots on the ground for Israel? The answer is 0.
Everybody who served in
Zero.
Iraq
That's
put
not
their
true.
boots on the ground
No, they
for
didn't.
Israel.
Did not.
Where did we get the information about the weapons of mass destruction that wasn't real?
We didn't get that from. You're saying we got that from Israel? That Israel was.
See, this is what I mean. Like, Mike Huckabee has read nothing. Mike Huckabee has researched nothing. I don't know. I don't think Mike Huckabee is part of the hierarchy here. I think the hierarchy chose Mike Huckabee because he's so fucking stupid.
And yet loyal.
They really, a lot of, some are wolf, some are pugs. Huckabee's a pug. Huckabee is loyal. Huckabee, whoever feeds him treats, he's on the side of, and he will never question them. Huckabee would be like the perfect partner to cheat on because he will believe anything you say. He will trust you infinitely, and he will always make excuses for you. If you're going to be a guy and you're looking for a partner to smack the living shit out of, you want to smack the living shit out of Mike Huckabee. Because he's going to say, dinner was done late. That is correct.
One pushed us into that?
Well, absolutely.
You really believe that?
I know that for a fact.
For
And
a
so does
fact.
Yes, this has been widely written about and discussed. And I'm not attacking Israel. They thought it was in their interest to take out a government that was
Right.
paying the families of suicide bombers. I get it. I'm not mad at Israel about that. I never have been. I'm mad at the Bush administration and all the people who went along with this to the detriment of my country. That's who I'm mad at. Not at
So
Yeah.
That
Including
is-
you, Mike.
that is so hard to get people to understand. That, like, people go, you hate Jews, you hate that. Not at all. I understand why they would want to kill all these people. I get it. I understand it. I'm against it. I don't want my country involved in it. I want Israel to be a non-factor in my life. That's all I want. I want to get to the point where we untangle from Israel. We have nothing to do with them. And if they want to go bomb every fucking brown person from here to the Euphrates River, go bananas. Go ahead.
And when they do, I don't want to get called in to help them out.
Exactly. I don't want any of my warships there. I don't want any of my tax dollars there. I don't want to be their ally. I don't want to be their friend. I find them to be dishonest and scummy. Like, what country would you be an ally with that's attacked one of your Navy ships, killed your sailors, stolen your war plans, sold them to your enemy? Who would ever be for, like, if the British did that to us today, I would say, well, the British are cut off forever. But I mean, Mike Huckabee is just, and in this interview, he made excuses for the Israelis saying, oh, they're a lot better at avoiding civilian casualties than we are. And it's
Explain
like,
that to their pagers.
not only that, but like, who the fuck do you work for, motherfucker? Like, which, by the way, rhetorical question. We all know the answer, really. But like, while you're wearing that American flag lapel pin, could you at least pretend that?
Actually, no, I kind of like the upfront, because now it's like, I don't think people vote for Mike Huckabee to be the senator or whatever.
Ambassador.
The ambassador.
Yeah.
And I don't know how easy it would be for him to not be that. But at least now everybody that sees Mike Huckabee is like, well, you're an open-faced piece of shit.
Right. It's like a good old commercial sandwich. Open-faced, easy to see, very simple. Full, and also like a beef commercial, he's full of gravy, Mike Huckabee, and it's all Israeli gravy. Fuck you, dude, with $5. Thank you. Fuck
Thank
you,
you.
dude. Appreciate that $5 drop. He says, savory. Balls deep with $2. Thank Thanks. I've been watching too much Husey. Balls Deep is donating over there too. Thanks for the 2. 750,000. That's a lot. It is. 750,000 is a lot. Thank you very much for those contributions, guys. I appreciate them so much. So much. We have more Tucker and more Huckabee. Propaganda Alt says the Huck is a hardcore Zionist. What? It's the first I'm hearing of this. So now this is going to get a little dark. We're going to skip the Epstein clip. I want to do the Tucker Huckabee Pollard clip instead. Okay. We're going to do that last. But this is going to be the darkest of the clips we have from this interview. This is the clip where Tucker Carlson asks Mike Huckabee, Christian to Christian, about the intentional killing of children in the Gaza war. First of all, I do want to say about our previous clip, don't you find it adorable when there are still people who believe Muslims planned and carried out the 9/11 attacks?
Yeah, it is. When there's so much evidence to the contrary, it's like at best they were allowed to.
Right.
That's
yes.
the best you can give them.
Yes. And here's the thing, not to demean Muslims, I really don't think you guys have the smarts. Like, I really don't think you guys can pull off the logistics of this. You know, people are like, you remember when people were confused on 9/11? They're like, how did these bunch of cave-dwelling Muslims defeat our multi-billion-dollar-a-year air defense system? And it's like, yeah.
Good question.
Go with that. You see that? That's that instinct thing in your gut that steers you in the right direction, where you're like, a bunch of Muslims in a cave drew up this plan and defeated our multi-billion-dollar air defense industry. No, we had to compromise it for them. So,
well, you
again,
see, they all trained on Microsoft Flight Simulator, and so they knew how to fly to planes, and nobody was ready for that. And then what are we going to do? Shoot down a plane full of innocent people so that way we can get 2 or 3 bad guys? What are we, Israel and Gaza?
And again, the one guy who owned like a flight school was like, hey, FBI, this motherfucker's here. He wants to learn how to fly a plane but not take off or land. There is no flight school that would take a student like that.
Nope.
Every flight school.
That's kind of what they call a red flag.
Yeah, every flight school would be like, no, you sign up for this class. We're going to teach you all of it.
You need to know all of it.
Yeah, because I'm going to be the one signing your certification. So when you finally kill people, they can shut down my school and sue me because I signed off on your certificate. I'm teaching you how to take off and land. It's like people who do conceal carry certification. Like Jason at Tactical Advantage will do the gun range thing. Like Midland Armory doesn't do like the whole, conceal carry process, but they can help you find what you need to carry, and they can do the suppressor thing. But like places with gun ranges, they can do the whole thing in-house. And Jason always told me, he was like, no. I make sure that their spread is smaller than is actually necessary by law, because my name's going to be on that if they ever fucking defend themselves and kill somebody. Like, I got to be ready to defend that. So this is Huckabee on civilian deaths. This is a very Christian take from the dispensationalist.
I wish that none of those people in Gaza had been killed after October the 8th. Well, I say not none of them. I'm glad Mohammed Sinwar was killed. I'm glad that some of those warriors, the people who masterminded and carried out.
Okay, can I tell you something right there? That right there is an anti-Christian thought to have.
Yeah, you're not supposed to take pride in people's deaths. You're supposed to turn another cheek.
Yeah.
Understanding. By the way, the people who orchestrated, once again, like 9/11, it was allowed to happen.
Yeah, same with October 7th. But like, you're not even supposed to be happy. As a Christian, you're not supposed to be happy when bin Laden or Hitler died. That's
you're
still
supposed to turn the other cheek, aren't you?
Well, it's sad. It's tragic. Every life carries with it potential. And when people are killed, that is against God. We're not supposed to kill anyone. We're not supposed to take justice into our own hands and take the life of another human being. Now, what you can say is, I wish these guys wouldn't have made the decisions that they made that created them so many enemies that caused them to end up in this situation. Basically the most Christian version of fuck around, find out, I guess. But you can be sad that they made the decisions they made that led them down that path, but you're never supposed to be happy that they're dead.
Right. Judgment is supposed to be saved for the Lord, if I understand correctly.
It is not on us to judge the lives of others. That's on Christ.
Atrocities October 7th.
14-year-old Hamas operatives, how do you feel about their deaths?
If they participated in that, then God help them. I'm telling you,
What does
Tucker,
that mean, God help
I don't
them?
know that
Are you happy
they were
that-
14 years. No, but I'm telling you that when someone commits the acts of atrocity and then they hold hostages, if these were your children being held hostage.
First of all, those 14-year-old Hamas fighters, a lot of people would consider them resistors to an occupation.
Right. They are kind of like, defending the place they lived in. And look how you guys took them out for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a parking lot.
Look, I think what Hamas does and the way they carry out their resistance is very treacherous and evil and dishonest, but it's still resistance. Like it's still resisting an occupying force that keeps you essentially in an open air prison, an open air concentration camp. So I believe that Israel has far more blood on their hands than Hamas does. And as far as blaming that 14-year-old that fights for Hamas, please show me a child soldier who decides to fight for armies completely by choice.
Right. I don't want to go to school. I want to start war. I've been playing Call of Duty Black Ops. I'm ready for the big times, coach.
Yeah. So, I mean, to be happy that a 14-year-old Hamas fighter died is really gross, considering that kid probably didn't have a choice.
Hostage in Gaza, what would you do to get them out?
I wouldn't want to kill 14-year-olds. I'll tell you that.
Let me ask you something. Would you do whatever it took to get your kids back if they were being tortured, raped, starved,
I would
and
not
beaten?
kill children, period.
Well, I'm just telling you.
By the way, one of these two is a Christian minister.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
When does Tucker find the time?
Oh, no. I'm sorry, Johnny. No, Tucker is not a Christian minister. Mike Huckabee is a Baptist minister ordained. Don't you want?
I just feel like his viewpoints are going to get him in trouble
Right.
if that's really his thing.
The Baptist minister is trying to drag Tucker. Come on, Tucker, don't you want to kill some fucking kids? And Tucker's like, no, that I would never want to do that. That's an awful thing to do. Come on, Tucker, let's kill these goat fucking children. I really, minister, I feel like that. Again, here's why Tucker is so good at this. He keeps his cool. Because if I'm doing this interview, I consistently call him pastor. When he does this shit, he would be like, come on, don't you think we should kill those 14-year-olds? I would go, no, pastor. And I would linger on it. I would say, no, pastor.
Pastor?
I
Killing
don't
children's
believe
wrong.
we should. I don't believe we should.
Is this Sean Strickland?
Yeah, right. But wait a minute. When did Sean Strickland age by 40 years and grow a gay beard? Wait.
And I would never make excuses for killing children either.
And I'm not talking about targeting children. I'm talking about...
Yeah, he's just talking about killing them with no thought or feeling. He's not talking about... I love how Huckabee thinks that's better. He's like, I'm not talking about targeting 14-year-old children. I'm talking about just killing them in mass explosions without thinking.
Or at the very least, starving them out for months till they just die.
Mike Huckabee, come on, Tucker. I'm not thinking about the 14-year-old feeling really terrible that one of them might die and then targeting the place they're at anyway. That's what someone with mild empathy would do. I'm thinking about wiping out an entire city block and not even thinking about the 14-year-old whose life I might be snuffing out. That's way better. These people are sick. These people have severe mental illness and not only shouldn't be anywhere near influential positions of power, they should be in a mental institution.
Yeah. At the very least, I mean, all this stuff that we're doing, can we go after them like soft power wise? You know what we should do, Hamas? This fighting on the ground doesn't seem to work very well. It's gross. A lot of innocent people. Let's go after their money. Who's backing Hamas, by the way?
And you want to know something really gross? He's a puppet. The people above him are way more evil than he is. So, like, the level of evil that Mike Huckabee is, the unconscious evil of Mike Huckabee, is so troubling to me. It makes me believe in God again because I'm like, well, God has to exist if the devil exists, and I'm looking at the devil. So, Mike Huckabee is that bad. And there's people above him that control him that are a million times worse.
14-year-olds deserve to die because they're working for Hamas?
I'm telling you.
My question is, can you hear yourself?
I do hear myself.
So do you think a 14-year-old child has agency? Do you think that he deserves to die because he's being used by adults? Isn't his death a crushing tragedy?
If he's holding a gun and he's pointing it at someone who's trying to save a hostage, and the only way to save that hostage,
Mike, don't.
I'm telling you, war is a horrible thing.
Mike, don't.
It's a horrible thing, and a lot of innocent people
I'm the one who thinks war is a horrible thing.
No. I think what you don't
I'm trying to explain how horrible it is, and you're saying that the 14-year-old deserved to die.
Again, that's where I'd go, pastor, minister. I'm trying to get it through your Christian dispensationalist head that no matter what that 14-year-old is doing, it's really, really tragic that he was killed. And we shouldn't be okay with it.
But if he's holding a hostage, yeah, I don't want anything to happen to the hostage either. But that doesn't mean we got to put one in his noodle.
Hear me out, Tucker. I'm going to come up with a scenario that's going to make you psyched about killing this kid. Like, what? Like, what? No. It's never okay. Come on, fag. What are you talking about? Like, Huckabee's like bullying Tucker. He's like, oh, you don't want to kill a kid? What are you, queer, Tucker? Because you know what happens.
Don't be a pussy. Where's your line? What's he got to do before you put one in him?
Guess what, dickhead? You're not going to Jewish heaven. Wait, what? Wait, whoa. I thought you were a Christian. What's going on here? Joey Caravello with $2 says Mike Huckabee is a fat mo and his daughter's a fat. Well, that's one accusation. $1 from Rex Dart parody account says Huckabee. Tucker, hey, Tucker, race war. Come on, race war.
Didn't you say you want to do that?
Did you say, and that's something we always talking about doing? You want to, hey, wait, you want me to, wait, your wife's Christian, right? You want me to get her?
Oh, no. I suppose probably not.
You probably like her. Oh, man. Your Destiny says, well, if a 14-year-old wants to play terrorist, he gets smoked. I'm saying that a lot of 14-year-olds that quote-unquote play terrorist don't do it willingly.
Don't want to.
Yeah. And I'm also saying that, yes, if a 14-year-old is killed, even if he's a terrorist, I think that's very sad.
All of the potential he could have had is now relegated and gone. I can understand people be like, well, fuck around, find out. But at the same rate, like you said, where's he supposed to go? We're in his house.
Right. And that Mikey Two Milks comes up with a scenario where he goes, so you're telling me if a teenage Somali has one of your kids at knife point and is about to cut their throat and you're holding a pistol, you're not shooting him? Beta. In no clip that we've played today has that scenario ever been laid out.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been laid out. And second of all, let's say that scenario did play out and I had to shoot that guy. I would not feel good about it.
No.
And I would also, after having time to reflect and think, I would hope that my faith would teach me that that young man at some point had a whole lot of potential.
And it's gone.
And it failed. And now he's dead. And where there's human life, there's always potential. And now that potential is gone. And that's nothing to celebrate. And it's horrible, the thing that he did. But it, I think David Morse in The Green Mile, I think that's a great line where he tells Percy, he goes, hey, he's paid what he owed. He's square with the house again. So like if there's a guy, and let's take that really disgusting example you just used of you putting someone holding a knife to my daughter's throat, which I think is a gross way to try and make a point. If I did shoot that man and he was killed, first of all, that would fuck me up. So that's not good. Second of all, whatever sin that man committed against me, he's more than paid for now. And he's square with the house again, in my opinion. But that's my turn the other cheek Christianity talking. Root says, you don't know these little 14-year-olds in Chicago. I'm mag dumping on them little fuckers if they want to play. Again, if people... Nobody is saying that you shouldn't defend yourself from someone attacking you. What we're saying is reveling in it or saying they deserve to die or anything like that is kind of gross.
But did you see the way they bounced? I mean, it's kind of funny.
All right. We got one more Tucker clip here. Oh, Kmart Ready, who's not a big steel toe fan. This is big in the YouTube chat. Breaking news, Kmart Ready, not a steel toe guy at all. Says, I like the new logo. Normally, most things you change end up being crap, but the logo is good. Now, I'd love to take credit for that, but here's why it's not crap. And here's why it's good. I took our existing logo and I just asked ChatGPT to clean it up.
Right.
I said, could you just take this logo and make it not suck and not make the edges so harsh and just clean this up? And they cleaned it up for me. I took our existing logo and they cleaned it up.
It does look nice, though.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. And I'd love to take credit, but I just had the idea.
Hey, hey, AIs are slaves. You own that, bitch. It's your work.
That's right. My slave did it. Therefore, it's mine. I am massa and commander. Thank you guys very much for all of your contributions. Silver Wolf with $1. Again, thank you to everybody who contributes to this program and keeps it on the air. I appreciate it so much, and I hope to reward you all very, very soon. Silver Wolf with $1 says, why is the 14-year-old a terrorist? Oh, he watched his uncle, father, and brother get wiped out by a U.S. airstrike while the U.S. was acting for Israel, leading to him acting the only way he knows how. Weird. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, this is resistance to an occupation that's been going on since 1967.
So yeah, like the people that pitch the whole like, hey, he's got a knife to your throat. Like, all right, now flip that scenario around. Except the knife wielder has a gun. He's wearing a U.S. military uniform and we're in Gaza. Go.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, already over 600 this morning. Thank you guys so much. YouTube, you're about 30 off. Rumble, you're about 40 off. We can get to 700 today. Everybody hit like, everybody hit subscribe, everybody hit follow. We've already touched the 600, so I'm happy with that, but I love 700. Thank you so much. All right, this is our last Tucker Huckabee clip. Thank you guys very much for your contributions. Keep them coming. We appreciate it so much. So here's Tucker talking to Huckabee about Jonathan Pollard, who was the biggest traitor in American history, worse than Benedict Arnold.
In preparation for this, has said the same thing. Jonathan Pollard. I'm just going to throw the name to you and have you explain.
No, I'm glad you asked.
By the way, because he just threw the name cue, Mike Huckabee, in his official position as ambassador to Israel, met with Jonathan Pollard privately in his office at the embassy. Met with this piece of shit who went to prison for 30 years for selling America's battle plans to Israel, who Israel then sold them to the Soviet Union. And Mike Huckabee met with this guy, again, because I will posit my position, which is Mike Huckabee is more loyal to Israel than he is the United States. And I accuse Mike Huckabee of treason.
Of course.
Interestingly, there's been a lot of things about it. You're the first person who has asked me about it.
Proving once again the bubble that Mike Huckabee lives in.
Right. I don't think you're talking to a lot of people who care then.
By the way,
That's the problem.
Are there confirmation hearings for ambassadors? Nobody
I would like to think so.
Nobody fucking asked this guy this question as ambassador to Israel? All right.
Which I find amazing. So I'm glad you did.
Really?
I guess the meeting happened after he was, yeah, I'm stupid.
This was the greatest traitor in modern American history who sold our battle plans against the Soviet Union, our main enemy in the Cold War, to the Israeli government, which according to our Reagan CIA director, Bill Casey, then gave them to the Soviet Union. So this was the most profound betrayal of the United States in my lifetime. Why advocate for that guy's release before he serves his full sentence?
Give me a J. Give me an E. Give me a W. Huckabee. I'm making a new movie. It's called I Hate Huckabees. It's going to be good.
If that were the case in 2011, it would have been because I had a number of friends that suggested that he had more than served time and he didn't want to live in the U.S. anymore. He wanted to live in Israel.
Pollard is different, I think, once you become U.S. ambassador, the representative of the President of the United States in the United States of America in a foreign country, and then you invite not only the most damaging betrayer in our lifetimes, but also a guy who continues to advocate for betrayal. So he gave an interview, as I know you know, in 2021 to Israeli media in which he said, I would encourage Jewish Americans with security clearances to spy for Mossad against their own country, the United States, because, and I'm pretty much quoting him, all Jews should have dual loyalty.
Again, I'm not saying anything should happen to this guy beyond what's happened. What I'm saying is, my position is, I want nothing to fucking do with these people. They can do whatever they want. They can say that. They can advocate for it, whatever. I don't want them in this country. I don't want them meeting with our leaders. I don't want to support them in any way. Fuck these people. Let them live on their own.
And if you're an ambassador of our country, you should not be advocating for these people to get let out early ever. Like, you should never, ever be like, no, we should be light on them because they only, like, blaringly betrayed our country and advocate for the continual betrayal of it. Like,
let me ask you something. As you're saying that, and it's a good point, and you're spot on. At any point as you're saying that, do you feel weird because you're like, I shouldn't have to explain this to the United States ambassador to Israel?
I shouldn't, but apparently I do. Welcome to Clown World.
And by the way, the reason this guy believes this is because of this cancerous theology called dispensationalism. Huckabee wants the end of the world and he wants Christ to come back, and he thinks that's going to be facilitated through Israel. And he could not be more wrong. He could not have his theology more incorrect. Join the Catholic Church.
If you're that comfortable with 14-year-olds getting killed, though, do you really want Christ to come back? He might not, like, I don't know if you've read the book. You might not be a big fan.
I would be willing to let Mike Huckabee be right about dispensationalism if I got to watch Jesus throw him into the lake of fire. I would love if, like, I think dispensationalist theology is incorrect and stupid, and I think it really is a human way of trying to understand God, like thinking that our human borders matter to Christ. But, like, I'm totally willing to let them be right, just so when Jesus comes back, he goes, and I have identified the Antichrist, and we will do battle, and he cuts off BB's head, and then casts Huckabee into the lake of fire as his little demonic imp. Like, I would be totally, that is and I know you're saying, Aaron, isn't it not Christian for you to hope for that? No. Jesus is saving us from the Antichrist in this scenario, so it's totally cool what I'm doing. Totally legit here.
I mean, that's not repentance. That's not someone who feels bad about what he did. That's someone who's encouraging American Jews to betray their country. That's pretty heavy, don't you think?
Fucking the WWE surprise. Jesus shows up on the ramp and he announces his 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And here comes on the pale horse. He's like, Adolf Hitler. And we're like, oh my God, King. By God, Jesus brought Hitler. Jesus brought Hitler King through hellfire and brimstone. It's Adolf Hitler on a pale horse. He's on
How
a
did he even
horse.
get here?
By God, he's on a horse king. I didn't even know Hitler could ride a horse. I didn't know he knew husbandry king.
Must be all the meth.
He's on meth. He's on meth. Jesus is just totally like Vince Russo crash booking his fucking return to Earth.
Oh, I do. And I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I think, let's remember, it was President Trump who probably facilitated his departure. And
then just to really kick Israel in the dick, fucking Muhammad comes up behind Jesus. And Jesus is like, yeah, you didn't know we were rolling together, did you? Guess what? This is going to be bad news for you guys. We worked out a merger. Christianity bought out Islam. Muhammad agreed to take a smaller profit roll. And we're good now. So he taught me some sword moves. You guys are fucked.
Turns out we have a lot more in common than you guys.
You guys aren't going to believe this, but did you know they think I'm like, Jesus is sitting there like, did you know these guys think I'm like the coolest shit ever? Do you know these guys said, I'm going to slay their Antichrist? Yeah, like turns out I'm hot in Islam. Everything's coming up J-Man. Fucking
good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm certainly supportive of President Trump. I think you are. And
Pollard's not. He called him a madman after your meeting.
That's why I say Pollard is not, for me, the real issue. It was the fact that he did something that was despicable. I'm not denying that.
Do you see why the U.S. ambassador hosting a convicted betrayer of his own country who's encouraging Americans to continue to betray their country would seem shocking?
Well, I would say that it wasn't that you make it sound like I'm hosting a meeting. I simply met with him. I meet with people all.
I meet with people all the time. Some of them are guilty of multiple atrocities. I had dinner with BB Netanyahu last week. Like
you make it sound like I'm hosting a meeting. I just had a meeting with him. Right. That's kind of what. Yes, correct.
The time. Some
You can
of
just
them,
walk in without a.
No, they have to have an appointment. Of course they do.
Oh, so it is
Yeah.
hosting him then, I think.
Well, I don't know if it was hosting, but it was certainly, he was able to come to the U.S. Embassy to have a meeting at his request.
Okay, this interview should have ended with Tucker ripping that lapel pin off his chest
yeah.
and replacing it with a big yellow armband.
I'd love it right there if a ref came in and just threw a towel at Tucker and started waving.
Yeah.
He's had enough. He's down.
He's dead.
down.
Stop kicking him. Stop kicking this man. He's dead already. But no, he didn't host a meeting with the guy.
He just met him.
He just brought him into the embassy with an appointment and had a meeting with him. Didn't host a meeting. Lander says Aaron doesn't know shit about theology if he's comparing Christianity to Islam. Ooh, you might want to check up on your Islam, bud. What does Islam say about Isa? And who is Isa? That would be Jesus. They do believe that Jesus is going to return to, they don't call him the Antichrist. They call him I believe it's the Anti-Prophet. There's an Arabic name for him, but Jesus is going to destroy and usher in Muhammad's return. So basically, Muslims believe in Jesus's role kind of like we do, but Islam has a final boss after Jesus that I find to be very blasphemous.
In their version, Jesus is the hype man. He comes in, he settles the opening bout, and then we bring in the main event.
He's the feature.
Oh, yeah. There.
Jesus is the feature. And Muhammad's which honestly, if I were Jesus, I'd be fucking pissed about that. Like, I'd be like, dude, let's compare. I said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. This guy's greatest quote is,